Before Monkey D. Luffy was the infamous captain of the Straw Hat Pirates and Emperor of the Sea, he was just a regular kid with the dream of freedom. These somewhat humble beginnings for Luffy are what ground him in later moments for the narrative, Luffy being essential to the success of One Piece's story over the years. In this video, I want to explore what makes Luffy such a well-rounded protagonist. My view on protagonists in general have changed quite a bit in the last year or so. Protagonists used to be my least favorite aspect of the story, and while I still find many side characters to have more interesting ideologies, I think it is important to understand the effect a good protagonist can have on a narrative, especially in a long-running shonen series. While Luffy is not my favorite character in One Piece, there is still no denying that he is essential to the series being as well written as it has been over the years. Luffy setting the standard for what every long-running shonen protagonist should be. One Piece's story is a balance of action, adventure, and comedy. These three aspects shown fundamentally through Luffy. Luffy is an incredibly strong fighter because of his Gum Fruit abilities, but even without it, he would likely have become a great fighter someday because of his Conqueror's Haki. Luffy is also a curious person, which makes him want to explore the world around him. And lastly, he is a bit dim-witted, which leads to the many hilarious moments in One Piece. Luffy encaptures the main focus of this story, which makes him the perfect protagonist for One Piece. And while this seems pretty simple on the outset, of course the main character is going to embody the main ideas of the series. In shonen, that isn't always the case. Let's take a look at one of the icons of the genre, Goku. I would argue that Dragon Ball Z is a series focused on growth through fighting, and that is literally the goal for most characters. And for a time, Goku embodies that. In the Frieza saga, we see him overcome the embodiment of evil and reach the height of Super Saiyan. In the Cell saga, there is even more complexity added through Gohan's growth as a character, and then Goku's growth as a father to him. But in the Majin Buu saga, Goku feels removed from this core idea, and I think it goes a long way for the arc feeling more hollow than the previous two. Later in the series, Goku fails to embody and grow with the series, and in many ways the final arc suffers from that. I think you can even argue that Naruto in the final arc of its series struggles from a similar issue. This isn't even to say that these protagonists are poorly written. I'm particularly fond of Goku and Naruto as characters, but I'm trying to highlight just how hard it can be to have your protagonist completely sync up with the goal of the story, especially when that story is the length of a long-running shonen. Luffy perfectly captures the goal of One Piece, hitting its intense action moments and at the same time nailing so many comedic beats of the story. A perfect example of how Luffy highlights what One Piece is at its core and how it has evolved over the years is the halfway mark of the series at Marineford. Sabaody Archipelago and Marineford recontextualize the entire series of One Piece, and it does so by removing Luffy from the Straw Hats. So far in the series, the Straw Hats have almost felt like the main protagonist more than Luffy on his own, but in an instant, that is changed entirely. Luffy is separated from his entire crew, and instead of harnessing some ultimate power in a moment of rage, Luffy drops to his lowest point and continues to spiral until his brother dies. Again, Luffy embodies the goal of the series, and as the ideas being explored continue in complexity post-time skip, Luffy is forced to grow mentally as well. However, his development isn't in what we might consider a typical narrative arc. After the events of Marineford, Luffy is still widely the same person, embodying the same roots of One Piece. But it is by putting what Luffy stands for through unique situations that makes his character develop so strongly. Luffy never gets an easy way out. He doesn't get that moment of rage at Sabaody Archipelago to save his crew. He isn't even able to save his brother. Oda's ability to hold back in crucial moments in the story gives Luffy a sense of reality that weighs on the rest of the series. Luffy will have to train hard and often get pretty clever if he's going to beat the best opponents, which also helps the power scaling of One Piece long term. The last part that makes Luffy such a great long-running shonen protagonist is the consistency of his character. Writing the same character for hundreds upon hundreds of chapters is an incredibly difficult thing to do. Luffy has had the same goal since the very first episode: to be king of the pirates, to be free. His goal moves the series forward, but emotionally, he hasn't yet reached his peak. There are also no logical inconsistencies with what he believes. Any fan of the series can come up with a few scenarios and understand logically how Luffy might act in any given situation. And that is because Luffy has been written as the same person since the start of the show, which is far easier said than done. There is a straight line through who Luffy was in Chapter 1 to now, and that is because he stays consistent. Luffy is still curious about every new island the Straw Hats get to. He is still dim-witted, and of course, he is loyal. In Whole Cake Island, Luffy refuses to lose to Katakuri out of sheer will. But it is the same tendency we see from Luffy all the way back in Arlong Park. Continuity can be one of the most challenging parts of any long-running shonen, and for Luffy, he is always consistent with who he is. When you combine all of these aspects together, you get a base for what makes Luffy such a strong protagonist for One Piece. If you're going to have a series run for this long, you need to make sure that the protagonist, the character in which the audience views the story, is well developed, consistent, and above all else, in alignment with the goals of the series. Luffy has been able to evolve alongside One Piece's story for almost 1,000 chapters because of these elements, making him the gold standard for how we should view any shonen protagonist. There may be a handful of characters who I think take what Luffy has been able to do and improve on it, but that shouldn't take away from how brilliant of a character he really is. Because his reign has been for so long, it can be easy to take the captain of the Straw Hat Pirates for granted, but no doubt he is the gold standard for what makes a shonen protagonist. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's been a couple of weeks that I haven't come out with a new video. The end of the semester was wild for college, but we finally finished it up, and so I'll be looking forward to a lot more videos in the months to come, and specifically next week from when this video aired, so that's December 7th, I'm planning on releasing 5 videos in 5 days, which is something I've never done before, but I just wanted to try and challenge myself and see if I would be able to do it, so look out for that. Of course, if you enjoy my work and you want to see more videos at even higher quality, go and support my Patreon. The link is down below. You can get access to all the different benefits there. Follow me on Twitter at Annie Essays if you want to be in contact with me, hear about some of my thoughts on random series as I'm watching them. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.